This is Smithy.tv.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Mind Reels, brought to you this week by Danger Girl Photography. With me, as always, is Sue Maynard on my left. Sue,
hello.
What goes on? Good week? Great week?
No.
Fine.
It's week.
Yes.
Tim.
Well, let's just jump into it then and talk about our first guest, our only guest tonight, by the way. He's like our Alec Baldwin. He's like, because Alec Baldwin has hosted Saturday Night Live 5 times and
17. Okay.
Yeah. Is it 17?
Like
Look at that. He's already in here. And you're at what, 3?
This is 3, so we're gonna run out of stuff to talk about in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
But anyway, Jeremy LaLonde, welcome to the
Trilogy,
show.
hat trick.
Yeah, it's a hat trick.
Bum.
Yeah.
It is my hat trick. That's true.
Huh?
So yeah, and in the studio for the first time.
That's true. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's cozy.
So we thought it would be a really, really nice touch to have you in the studio, as one of our first guests, because of course you were the first guest.
Mm-hmm.
I popped your cherries.
You sure did.
I'm not comfortable with that.
I'm not comfortable with that.
But
As
yeah.
ugly I am. It's fine.
Weird.
Just
She's okay with
I'm
that.
over
That
it.
works out.
But yeah, you're like you're like a touchstone for us. We like to always come back and check in, and yeah, it's thanks to you that we're kind of where we are.
Yeah.
Pshaw.
Oh, puff, tiffle top. But but you've been
We
busy.
could get
We've been
animation
busy.
for that.
What's that?
We should get
We get
animation for that, like
For your
the old
sound, you
Batman.
get
Yeah.
some Batman stuff going on?
Yeah, it's like
That would be
Pshaw.
wicked.
And that might be more entertaining than with 2 shots of.
Maybe.
Now everybody's all excited because you have finished up Sex After Kids. You've
That's
got
right.
your pictures locked.
Yeah, we wrapped almost 2 months ago now. So yeah.
And everybody's kind of waiting.
That's right.
Just
well,
saying.
it's getting close. It takes time to make movies. Settle down.
But I saw you make it, so
That's true.
It's done.
In your mind, it's done. Right. No. We're very close. We're almost picture locked. We're doing a test screening tomorrow night.
Yes.
And then
I'll be there.
you guys are not invited.
No.
Randoms. We want mostly random people.
We were shunned again.
You guys are just gonna come and be really nice. That's the problem with you two. You're just gonna be really, really nice.
That's not true.
That is the
I
problem.
would call it crap if it was crap. If it was Woody Allen,
I'm
I
gonna
would
make
call it
something
crap.
terrible, and then I'm gonna force you guys to tell me. It's
Say it's really good.
Just on purpose.
And I'll be like, the best movie of 2013.
Nice. No, so it's like so we're gonna do the test screening tomorrow night.
Very cool.
And then, providing nothing insane comes out of that, we're looking to lock the film this weekend.
Wow.
Cool.
And then
That's very fast.
Start doing the mix and the color correction starting next week. But it's gonna. The thing is, like, we're getting everything done for favors and next to nothing. So
Right.
we're essentially giving our mixers and our colorists 2.5 months to do everything because they're gonna do it in piecemeal as they have time
Right.
between other
That makes
gigs,
sense,
right?
yeah.
So it gives them a nice leisurely schedule. It doesn't feel like they're pressured in, and we don't feel like jerks for forcing them to work their asses off for
nothing.
next to nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just it. So.
But they get credit. And
Yeah, but the plan is to. We've submitted to a bunch of festivals, and so the earliest we'd be screening at a festival would be in January. So our plan is to have the film completely finished by New Year's or within a couple days of New Year's type
Cool.
thing.
wow.
I'm staying in town for the holidays.
Yeah,
so.
just
Well, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, which would be awesome because it'll be. I can't speak for most films. I know my first film took between the time I was working on the script initially and it got finished. It was like 4 or 5 years.
You wrote it in 2 days, and yet.
Yeah, well, no, there was a lot of revision. There was a lot of revision in between, but for this one, it was January 24th of last year that I even thought of doing anything like it.
Wow.
And so it'll be less than a year, and the thing will be completely finished, and maybe even premiering at a festival. So that'll be just really awesome.
God, that's so awesome. That's wicked news. And since you brought up festivals, we've got questions from the Twitterverse.
We're gonna do this first.
Yeah,
get this out of the way.
Yeah, why not?
Because you brought it up as festivals. So we've got the first question was from our dear friend Audrey, actually, who you've met.
I did meet Audrey all the way from France. She
Yeah.
came. We're in Maryland.
She sure did.
Maryland, right?
Yep.
I didn't want to get that wrong.
No, totally right. It was awesome, and that was a great night. Just
That
for
was.
everybody knows. We're not allowed to talk about it, but it was an awesome night.
Nothing creepy happened. You're making it sound like
Nothing
we
creepy happened.
killed hookers and stuff.
No.
We maimed them at best.
Exactly. We gave them a fright. They're fine.
That'll learn you. That's funny.
Fuckers. We're all going to hell.
It's terrible. But Audrey has 3 questions. Her first one was, will Sex After Kids be hitting any of the festival circuits? Like you just submitted for Sundance.
Yeah, we submitted for Sundance, Slamdance, Palm Springs, South by Southwest, and San Francisco International. So we submit. So I mean, you submit as they come up, and you try to get the deadlines earlier, so you don't pay out the nose, because their fees can triple and double and triple as they go along.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, they're insane. I mean, some of them start off, around the average submission fee starts off around $45, $50, but then if you hit their late deadlines, you're into like $100. And when you factor every festival in together, they add up. So if you want to submit to a lot of festivals,
It's like submitting for like writing competitions and stuff too.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. It's like there's like an early deadline, a regular deadline, the late deadline, and so if you're going to submit to a bunch, you want to submit early to save up the costs, because it could end up being the 3 early submissions are the price of 1 late submission. Yeah. But you're also at the mercy.
And you're not guaranteed to get into any of them.
No, absolutely.
So
and
that's like
too much
university.
money onto. Yeah.
And you're at the mercy of kind of when whether it's a script or a manuscript or whatever it is, your film is ready to submit. So for us, we were just kind of chomping at the bit just to get it ready enough to submit for the late Sundance deadline, right? Where with others like Tribeca, we'll be hitting their early deadline. So it depends on where you fall within the year. If you were finishing in April or May, you'd be hitting Toronto's deadline and all the Canadian film festivals deadlines, right? Yeah. So you're kind of at the mercy of where you fall in the calendar year, because the festival. What's working out really nice with ours is that if you look at the way the festival year kind of works, Sundance and Slamdance kind of kick it off. Yeah. And then it goes around, and I would say, probably Whistler is one of the bigger festivals that closes it in a year. So it kind of starts in January. You could argue that it starts at any point in the year and goes around from that month, but I think most people view it as starting in January and it goes around. So it's nice that we'll actually be starting the festival year.
I just like saying, I know somebody who's got a film going, submitted to Sundance. I think that's awesome.
But anyone gets submitted a film to Sundance if you've got the money.
Yeah, but
We just don't talk about it like that.
It's like my friend Jeremy submitted a movie.
Now you're just is there wood there? Is there any stuff wood that we can knock on?
There you go.
Remove this jinx you've settled upon me in my film. No, the thing is, it's like film festivals, especially big ones, are always just crapshoots. You're at the mercy. And big film festivals also have the burden of having to appease the droves that come out to them. So they've got to program bigger films that will draw celebrities to come out to promote them. So they have to, so a certain percentage of their slots have to be filled up by that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then distributors, they have relationships and that kind of stuff. So it's like, it's the bigger festivals, they still, they take from their submission piles, but they also have to facilitate a certain percentage otherwise in addition to it. Where, if you look at the smaller, really, truly indie film festivals, the majority of their films are programmed just directly from their submission piles. Yeah. So when you're submitting, it's really is a big crapshoot.
Yeah, but it'd be awesome.
And even then, sometimes it depends on who watches it.
That's true.
Because
and in all reality, too,
it might
is
not get past that person.
Yeah, it's like you look at, I don't know the number for Sundance, but like for TIFF, for example, programs like 300 and some odd features in their festival. Yeah. So I assume they get 5,000 to 6,000 submissions or more, right?
Yeah. How much crap does Colin Geddes have to watch?
Yeah, they got to watch a lot of crap. But you got to imagine that, half of it's actually probably not bad.
Yeah.
So, and half is still 2,500.
You still have to whittle down from that.
And of that, half of that's probably really, really good. Yeah. And they still can only program a fraction of that. So there's a lot of really great films that just never get a chance. And that, what's nice about that is that a lot of festivals don't like, especially the bigger ones, often don't like to program a film that's already been at another festival.
Right.
And for reasons of you want to have the allure of the premiere, whether it's the world premiere or your North American, Canadian premiere. But then you've also but what's nice about that is that it means it opens the other films up that didn't get into that festival. So now there's still a premiere at the next one that gets in. So it's kind of nice that it trickles down, and that hopefully eventually some of those get in, right? I mean, you will get films that they'll be at Sundance, and then they'll also be at South by, and then they'll be at so there are certain films that will do well and get into all the big ones, but I think that's rarer than it is true.
Because at best they can just use that as advertising, like Sundance audiences loved it, so ergo everybody here will want to come to it as well.
And it also depends on the kind
Which
of
they do sometimes.
Yeah, and it depends on the kind of film too, because a lot of films don't want to spend an entire year on the festival circuit. They want to, they want to get in and then get out and then be in the theaters and move on with the life. For smaller films like ours, where we don't necessarily have the big push of a big marketing drive behind us at this point, we haven't gotten to the
Tim
point.
and I are doing our best.
Yeah.
No, I know. We've got an amazing grassroots thing going on already.
It's like amazing.
When I look at where I was with my first film, it's like nobody even knew about it even after it came out.
We did.
No, I'm not saying no, but it's just we didn't get any. We didn't have big marketing dollars like that.
Yeah.
So for this one, people were excited about it before we even shot our first frame.
Yeah.
So that's just we're already ahead of the game. We were smart. We hired a PR person for this film ahead of the game, so we've already been getting some press and that kind of stuff. We've gotten some people know that it exists already, so we're already a step ahead. We're got a sales agent already.
There were chickmunk suits.
We did chickmunk suits, so I mean we're gonna submit our asses off to festivals.
Oh, yeah.
We can't guarantee which or any that we'll get into, so that's certainly the plan, but given the state of how things are and how you can't control anything, we can't promise which.
Get out there and just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, that's just it. That's all we can do is I mean, I try to keep myself busy enough that I'm never just sitting around waiting to hear from something back.
I just can't picture you doing that.
We're just sitting around waiting?
Yeah.
No, you got to move on.
You can't even sit still for long physically.
I'll sit still for you guys for a bit.
Well, no, it actually ties in nice because she also wants to know what else you've got coming up or any projects. Now, I want to follow up on this because Katie mentioned it. Katie Boland mentioned something called Clonely.
I'm going to kill her. No. There's a project Katie and I have been talking about doing. It's an idea I had years and years ago that I think I stole off of somebody else. It was Anthony Granny.
Oh, well, yeah, that's right.
It was a conversation that came up during a dinner time, and we were just posing questions, and it came out of that. I don't really want to talk too much about it.
I just
because it's one.
But you've got stuff on the go as well.
Yeah, that's kind of like a sci-fi kind of love story in the vein of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, that kind of shtick. But yeah, so it's something I literally haven't done more than a really solid one-pager, and then like 10 pages of a really terrible first off version of it that I wrote way before I talked to Katie about it. So that's something, that it'll hopefully happen at some point. I don't know if it's the next thing, just because I haven't put the energy into it that it will definitely require. There's a whole. I mean, I've got a stack of projects taller than I am, and I'm no midget. I'm
not a little guy.
Dwarf, whatever I don't mean to be. Now I feel terrible.
We're all going to hell.
I'm not going. I haven't said anything really bad yet tonight.
So anyway, so that's one.
Oh yeah,
that's one thing that's on the burner, my large stove of many burners. I got a television project that's in development with a production company that I also can't talk about.
Excellent.
Because I signed a piece of paper that said I wouldn't.
Guest stars, I'm just saying.
There we go. And then I've got another project with a writer friend of mine that we're trying to get off the ground and get some financing for. That if all goes really, really well, it might happen sooner rather than later. And that's probably
somebody over there is giving us a big thumbs up.
Someone over there might know something about that one. And that's the one that's probably closest to fruition. And I don't want to.
Don't
jinx it by talking about it. I'm not a super superstitious person.
No, but still.
But I'd also rather come and have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about rather than.
Well, that's fine.
Like with the Sex After Kids announcement.
Yeah, that was an awesome.
Yeah, right. As opposed to being,
that was a good night.
As opposed to fiddling around with. I've got some ideas, but there's definitely stuff in the works.
Right. Well, her last question was, what other actors do you want to work with?
Oh God, I have their list in here. No, I'm not gonna pull it out though. It's you know what I'm constantly discovering new actors that I want to work with, but then there's the question of do they want to work with me?
you, yeah.
You know, it's and it's funny. And the more
Hewlett.
I will never work with that bitch again. You hear that, Hewlett?
Take that.
No, I love Kate. And the thing I learned more about actors, I mean, actors really just want to work, and they want to work on decent projects.
Yes.
And I like to think that one thing I constantly try to do is give people interesting things to do. And so hopefully that means people will want to work with me. And it's a weird thing. I don't know. I don't want to get into specifics because there's so many. It's
I get
tough.
that. There's me.
You know?
Especially in...
There's me. There's Sue.
We have like
That's
quite a
it,
pool of
as
just
far as I know.
Canadian local talent.
Yeah. Well, that's just
First,
here's the
and
thing.
then-
And there's also that. It's just like, and I'm also like, I mean, you could say it's one of my flaws is that I get people that I like to work with, and I
Yeah.
just like to work with them.
See, but I
And
love
so-
that. Like Christopher Guest works with the same people over and over again in all
Joss
his
Whedon.
movies. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that.
but the problem is then I just went and did a movie with 17 amazing actors, and it's like shit. Like when am I gonna get the next
Where am I
project
gonna find them in the next
that's gonna fit for all of them? So inevitably, and there, there's actors from my first film that I adore that there just wasn't a right fit for this project as well.
Yeah.
So it's just I think it's inevitable that there'll be people that they'll fit for this one, they won't fit for the next one. But I'm always going to feel bad. Like that's my other problem is I feel.
Every film has to be an ensemble piece.
Well, I feel bad because I'm like, oh, it's like, well, why didn't I wish I would have had spot for that person or this person. And it's just like, so I don't know why, because I know other people just don't give a shit. They just, I know people. I don't know, but I do carry that with me. I have that It's my Canadian quality where I feel bad if I don't have something for everyone that I love to do.
I say good for you.
Yeah. So, but it's something I need to get over too because I can't constantly be creating giant ensemble pieces either. Maybe I can.
I think so.
So
You're like, challenge accepted.
no, but that's, yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of big, well-known talent that I would just love to work with. But there's also just a lot of really, really solidly, unfortunately, underknown talent that I'd love to work with as well. You know what I mean? I mean, it's an unfortunate state of the industry in that, the better known actor you're working with, the more chance of success you have, just by the sheer numbers of it. But with that also comes some burdens as well. I think on production, you're paying a lot more. You've got to have more things. I mean, the way I've shot my last two movies, we've shot them for next to nothing, and we've been lucky that the talented people we've had have been cool with that. That they don't get trailers. For the most part, they don't even get a little room to themselves to be able to hang out at. There's no luxuries on there was no luxuries on Sex After
man,
Kids
that picnic
shoot.
lunch was pretty fun.
The picnic lunch. Hey, one of my basic rules is that if you're not going to pay people well, you got to at least feed them well and treat them nicely.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I think I wrote about it on the set visits that everybody was doing their work, but then the picnic lunch ended up feeling more like a family kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is just fun.
You hang out. Well, that's the nice thing about shooting a movie that way is people don't have anywhere you can run off to. It's you kind of got to hang out together. And it's not a huge group either. I mean, you have these sets where there's hundreds of people. And everyone just goes off in their cliques, like they're hanging out together. You know. So it's just literally, it's we've got maybe a dozen people on our crew. Yeah. And depending on what day we're shooting, it's 2 actors or maybe 5. Or the day you were on was probably our biggest day.
Yeah.
But so people are kind of forced to band together and get to know each other and hang out with each other.
I think it makes for a better movie myself. I do.
It does.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know if
working
that's
environment.
No, go with it.
But yeah.
I like it.
If our workplace was like that.
What do we got? We've got Siobhan, which is always a great name, has 3 questions as well. She says she loves your comedies, but did you want to write any other genres?
Yeah, I have already. They haven't been made, obviously. But like I said, I've got that sci-fi thing that I'm toying around with Katie. I've got the show that I've got in the early stages of development is more of a horror comedy.
That's right. I remember you talking
thriller
about
kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's procedural-esque. So that's already different, but it'll be. I mean, everything I do is going to have a tinge of comedy to it, just because
Yeah.
I just think it's necessary. I think.
Well, and even like Paul Shepard had a lot of heart. It wasn't even like a straight up comedy. It was
Yeah.
a lot more. I was moved.
No, well, that's. I mean, I think Sex After Kids is similar too, in that it's just like I don't think anything I'm ever going to do either is just going to be a straight up comedy.
No. Yeah.
Because I think you need a blend of at least some drama in that. It's just for me. I mean, I think any comedy has. Any decent comedy has tinge of drama anyway, because otherwise, why do you care about the story? Why do you care about the characters?
It's not funny unless it's true. So
Yeah.
Or unless there's some kind of stakes.
Yeah.
For the characters and their relationships, their lives, or whatever they're going through. It's just nature is that you need some kind of connection to people, and that comes through drama.
Totally.
So there's that. It's like I wrote like a monster movie that will probably never get done because it's just so ridiculous. It was also one of those like it was just a ridiculous concept, but I need to dig it up. I kind of need to spend some time and go through some old projects because there might be some gold in the crap that I've turned over the years. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd ever do anything that's like pure hardcore drama. I don't know if I've got any interest in a period thing unless there was a story that really appealed to me from that. I mean, I have a big background in history. I did a lot of history documentaries when I first started out. And so I have an interest in history. I just don't have like a really big story that I wanted to tell you. Although that's not true. There's some really interesting small town history stuff with like little like piddling con artists. And that's the kind of thing that I'd probably do. I wouldn't be. It wouldn't be like some big,
epic,
big epic. Yeah, it would be like a little. But then again, I mean, that's shit costs money. And I'm still
Just break into the coppers.
No, what? Yeah, there you go. That's
See,
and I'm kind of still at the point where I consciously try to be aware of budget and try to keep things at this point anyway, knowing that it's going to be easier for me to make my movies. And get the funding if I can keep it realistic to where I'm at.
Your period piece will be like 1980.
No, not even. It's like 2008.
remember when? What else? She's got. She also says, "How do you write effectively for such well-rounded female characters?"
Do you do it yourself?
Yeah, and she wants to know, do you write them yourself?
No, I have a small team of elves that are all male. I don't know how they do it well either.
The homosexual elf.
What's the Jack Nicholson line from? As good as you
I know.
I think of a man, and then I take away logic.
Reason and accability.
That's
I think
not.
of a man, and I take away reason and accountability, and the chick's smile just fades.
I mean, I don't approach it any differently than if I'm writing a male character. Like for me, it's the same. It's just, I mean, there's different. I think it's true that men and women are different. I don't know if you'd go with the Venus Mars dichotomy, but
Mars bars.
Hungry.
Now you're hungry. So I don't approach it any differently. Like a character's a character for me. I mean, for me, it's just like my characters just come from, in general, like the essence of characters come from people I know.
Right.
So it's like I think of that person or a combination. I mean, sometimes it's a combination of people as well. So it's like it comes from that kind of stuff, right? And I draw very, very heavily on that for all my characters. So I think it's just as simply as that. Is just I just pay attention to people.
Yeah.
And I put myself in their shoes too, and that kind of stuff. But I mean, a lot of it's just really, really paying attention to other people.
Okay, well, I'm going to jump ahead.
And also just being able to see the world through other people's eyes.
Nice.
That's the other thing too. Is like because I do have a very specific worldview. So for me, it's like it's kind of part of the fun for me is forcing myself to have that argument that's very counter to what I would normally believe in.
Yeah.
And force that out of myself. And that's so a lot of it's
That's
just me playing.
There's nothing wrong with that. Ever. But you brought it up, so I'm going to jump
say
ahead.
that.
Playing with myself, there's nothing ever wrong.
Play.
Kids, there's nothing wrong with playing with yourselves. You heard it here on the Mind Reels.
Here first, yeah. Because Mary wanted to know if any of your characters in Paul Shepard or Sex After Kids were based on actual people.
Yeah, all of them. For sure. I mean, Sex After Kids, some of them are, I wouldn't say they're based on the actors, but some of the situations are absolutely based on their experiences.
Right.
I mean, I would say there's one of the storylines which, and I won't get into it. We'll come back and we'll do this. We'll do this after the movie comes out, and you guys can throw the more specific questions my way.
Yeah.
But there's one of the storylines that changed quite a bit from the first draft to what we shot. Just in really chatting with the actors in that scene and just finding something deeper and more personal. I mean, they all changed quite a bit because the one thing that was really nice about the process with Sex After Kids was that everything came together so quickly. I joked that I wrote it in 2.5 days, which the first draft was, but the first draft versus what we shot was, there was a lot of process involved in that. And same with Paul Shepard. It was like, that script went through revision after revision, mostly because I was still looking for money in between, so I had nothing to do but work on it, in addition to other things.
Does Anthony Grani really love pandas?
I don't know if he does or not. He loves...
I'm going to keep putting him on your Facebook wall.
Yeah. The pandas?
Yeah. All the time. We're getting him at the zoo.
Nice. So for Sex After Kids, there's a lot of there's a lot of conversations with the actors from the stories, and that helped evolve the stories as well, which would have been the natural process of me just hammering at it by myself and giving it to people for feedback. Instead, it was working really close with the people that are actually going to be playing the parts.
Yeah.
And they're all smart,
awesome.
super smart actors too, which was, part of it was why they were chosen as well, because they're people that are not shy about giving you feedback and give good feedback. And it's not just about, I want to be more likable and I want to be more this, that. It's just what hell can we put them through and help that strengthen the themes and lessons and that kind of stuff, right?
I don't want to see this movie now. Now. Damn it.
You
Nope.
can't.
You can't. You can't.
You got to be on set twice. You got to be on set.
And I get excited just at the idea of going on a set. I don't care whose movie it is, but I love the fact that my first real experience on a set was your movie.
Well, what's that like?
Before Dawn.
Oh yeah, Dead Before Dawn too. We did that one. That was late.
But you all, you guys are right in it too. You're zombies too, right? Do you give zombies on the football field or something like that? Zemans, not zombies. I'm sorry.
Zombie demons.
Yeah. Half zombie, half demon.
All semen.
So what's that like? So then going on a set for you guys, then what's that like? Because I know you also want to not have spoilers, so you're observing, but you're not observing. So how does that work?
I think I said that to Jen on when I was on the set. It's like she's like I'm not sure how close you can get. I'm like, I don't really want to get close because I don't want to hear.
You just want to be creepy. You want to be far enough away that you can be the creepy guy that's staring at everyone all day long.
I wanted to watch the process.
Guy perpetually in shadow.
But I didn't want to hear the dialogue because, Paul Shepard had some wicked dialogue, and I didn't want to spoil it by hearing the dialogue and just waiting while I watched the movie. Say sooner or later this person's going to say this line. It's going to be awesome. I didn't want that. I just wanted to watch the process, and that's what I got. And it's like that was exactly what I wanted for my day on the set. I was like, that's perfect. I got to chat to people, and half of them knew me then at that point anyway. So it's like, hey, this is so great.
And you see me nodding and just not saying much, and
okay again.
That's all I do. Is just nod and let everyone else do smart.
No, but between
things.
every take you were over there, you go over and you chat to them and say, okay, try it this way, or how about if you say this? And
I like when you giggle as you call cut. You know you got something good. You got a little chuckle going.
It's perfect.
That's my way of giving feedback. Either that or I slap them around.
Yeah.
It's either
I see those outtakes.
It's a hug or it's a smack. It's one or the other.
Or you just tell Christine to put that jacket back on in the stifling hot
Yeah, poor Christine.
Dodger room. I almost cried for her. She had to put it on after her break.
She was fine. You don't feel bad for Christine Horn. She's in theater. She's used to being under hot lights.
That's true.
You don't feel bad for her.
Ever.
She's lovely, but don't feel bad for her.
She is pretty awesome.
She is.
And Mary's got one more question for you. She's got, what gave you the idea for Paul Shepard and for Sex After Kids? Where did the idea germinate? Not from Germany, but germinate.
They actually did come from Germany, both of them. I ordered them in a package. They came.
It was a 2-for-1 deal.
Yeah, I got them both at the same time.
It came with initials.
Well, I mean, Paul Shepard, I've told this story before, but Paul Shepard came out of a couple things, but primarily it was a girlfriend of mine, an ex-girlfriend of mine, had a book of poetry coming out.
That's right.
Which was not, it wasn't about me, but it's also, it was about, her feelings on certain things, and there was stuff she wrote about relationships, so I think it would be impossible for you to read that and not read into it, whether or not it's what you or not. You assume it is.
Yeah.
But she. I wasn't the only person she'd ever been with either. So it's like you don't know, but because people are selfish and you always believe that someone. Yeah, you just assume. So, but for me, it was just kind of that, and I was like, well, that's interesting, but then kind of taking it further and wondering.
There's a glare on that, and I can't read it.
And just.
Oh, okay, got it.
And then now I'm so.
Wow, that was so professional, everyone. That was great.
It's okay. I'll jump back
People
in
are
here.
selfish,
People are selfish. Yes. And suddenly that made me remember what I was going to say. That's terrible of me. So yeah. So
We're all going to hell.
we're all going to hell. That's the theme of the day. Every time you hear that, take a drink. So I just kind of took that a step further and was like, well, what if it was all about me? And what if I knew that reading it for the first time? It's like, gee, what a slap in the face that would be, right? Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of one of the first big thrusts towards Paul Shepard. And also thinking that it's like, well, if I want to make my first feature, I've got to do something that I can do on a budget that I can control and with the resources I have available to me. And so I wanted to do something that didn't necessarily look cheap, but could be made cheaply and not affect the visual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it just kind of came out of that, and I knew documentary style, and I just started watching The British Office, and just really, and like that's the way that it can. I just saw it, and I was like, it can be done. Like that, they nailed it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd seen the Christopher Guest movies and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and those are great. But there was something that was more emotional about what Stephen Merchant and Ricky Gervais were doing. That was like, okay, that's totally something I can nail into.
That,
yeah. And so that was a huge inspiration for me. And then it just went from there, and I just so that was the initial inception for that. For Sex After Kids. I mean, I have 2 kids.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's got kids.
And I have no sex. So I had sex before the kids, which is one of the ironies of having kids and then...
I don't know how Emily's going to feel about you saying that.
She knows.
She's the other half.
If I said I was having sex, she would know I was having an affair. So I think she's going to be quite happy to find out that I'm...
Not having any...
Yeah.
The same amount of sex as you.
Yeah, we're equally having the same amount of non-sex. But I mean, that is the irony, is that it's like you need to have sex to have kids, but then once you have them, it's like, sex just doesn't happen for a little while. It's just, especially once the second one comes around.
Ryan is nodding just so everybody knows.
Yeah. Well, especially when the second one comes around, and especially if they're different ages, it's just the timetables are just so messed up. That you literally, when you finally do have that nugget of time where you're like, both kids are asleep.
We should
fool around. And it's like, we should catch
remember
up on our
what
TV
happened
show. No, but then you're like, oh no, we have laundry, or we haven't finished watching an episode of Homeland or whatever we're watching at the moment. And it's like, yeah, we should do that, and then maybe we'll fall asleep. Yeah. So it just happens, but it'll come back around, I hope. It's just one of those things. So for me, it was just, that was kind of going on. I wanted to do something that, again, I had a project that was really close to coming to fruition, and it fell apart, and it was kind of heartbreaking. And then I just was looking at what Ed Burns has been doing with his low-budget projects. I mean, he goes far more low budget than we do in terms of production, but then I think he spends a ridiculous amount more.
We spoke about that last time we were on the show. Yeah.
So, and I realized I had the exact same kind of elements he had in play, in terms of like I had access to the same resources in terms of crew and equipment, and even I would argue a better wealth of talent in terms of actors than he's working with. Not to downplay the actors he's working with. I just think highly
You
of
just
ours.
have awesome ones.
Yeah. Have you seen your cast?
No, are they any good?
Wow.
I don't know. I've never heard of most of these people.
Do they have any careers after
Zoe who?
Zoe who? Yeah.
Something Pinciet? Like, is that how you pronounce his last name? So anyway, so I wanted to do something that I could do on a budget that way, but also thinking bigger. I didn't want to do another mockumentary. I didn't want that to become like my
your thing.
Yeah, I didn't want to be like that's all he can do is do because that was the other criticism that I got out of that. It was like, oh, it's great, but can you make a real movie? It's like, well,
That was a real
a real movie. It's like, well, yeah, but it wasn't a real movie. It was like, it was. So I got that criticism. So I wanted to kind of do something that fought that.
Best movie of 2012.
Oh, thank you.
2011. What are we in now?
Who cares? Best movie
it on
of
a
both
list.
years, whatever.
That's grand. So I wanted to do something that kind of propelled that for me too, and so it was almost about proving that for myself that I could do that. But also knowing that we'd probably have less money than I had for my first film, and that we'd be shooting more intensely.
On weekends.
Well, that was it too. Is like I was, and at that point, I knew I was booked for a year on different TV series if I wanted to be. And so, but at the same time, I knew I was like, great. I was like, I don't have to worry about being paid for this. I can just, as long as I can do this on the weekends,
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about making any money off of this on the upfront. I can defer all that. It won't cost me anything like that. So then I just knew that I wanted to do an ensemble because that way, at least, if I was getting the actors to do it on the weekends too, at least I wasn't going to bug them for more than a handful of days each.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it was a matter of coming up with, the idea. And it all came together literally on the same day. It was like, I want to do this, made a list of rules. This is how I'm going to do it. And this is how it's going to work. It's like no actor can work more than these amount of days, no more than this amount of scenes per story, this many stories. Now I just need to have an idea. And I literally went home that night and was chatting with Emily, my wife, and it was like, sex after kids. It was like, and I literally in my notebook, I wrote like, various ensemble ideas and wrote like a column to write 10 ideas down and then that was the first one I wrote down. It was just like, I'm done. Why
Film it.
I know that I know that world, and I haven't seen that world done that way that I'm aware of. So yeah, then that was a long-winded answer for that.
That's good.
Yeah, so I mean, it essentially comes from my lives, but also the lives of friends and family, and and a lot of the cast, gave me some really really great stories that have wound up in the film.
Excellent. We got 2 last questions for you. One of them is really goofy. I'm going to save it for
And then
the
we can
last
just
one.
like talk about
We'll talk about whatever, man. That's what we do best.
Breaking Bad and Dexter.
Because I think we've actually spoken about this one before, but maybe this person hasn't heard the first podcast. Was that
I'm more than happy to be long-winded and answer the same question 1,000 times.
her question from Susie is:
Not me.
Is it true that the final?
Do people call you Susie?
Susie Q?
Certain people call me Susie.
Do you like that or do you hate it?
From certain people, I like it.
I appreciate the vagueness of that answer. I will never call you Susie.
Don't do
It depends. There's like one person that really can't get away with it, and one person that really can, and then
And then there's
the other people.
everybody else.
It comes out as when it comes out as like a little pet name. Sometimes it's cute.
And the person that can't get away with it probably does it the most.
I don't do it.
No, there's not really.
We got to do a really
Mostly
awkward.
it's fine.
That was really awkward. So we're gonna move on.
Wow. So Susie wanted to know that is it true that the final copy of Paul Shepard was stolen and that you had to use an inferior copy to complete the movie? Remember this story?
Inferior. That's not. Well, part of that's true. We didn't have to use an inferior
Yeah,
copy.
because somebody broke into your house. They
Yeah,
stole-
we locked the film, and for those non-film people, that essentially means that you're done cutting the story. The shots aren't changing, and then after that, you do your color correction, any kind of final effects, sound mixing. Maybe even you're still working on the score after that. But you're essentially, the movie's not changing in terms of
The visual part.
in terms of the edit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had done that just before Christmas of that year, and we went away for my wife and I always go up to my in-laws, have a farmhouse on the outskirts of Kitchener where we shot some scenes for Sex After Kids actually. So we always go up there for part of our Christmas break, and so while we were up there, I got a phone call from my neighbor saying that our house had been broken into. So we rushed home, and of course the whole way, Emmeline, I couldn't help but think, I'm like, the only thing that's really going to be shitty is if they stole my computer. And not even my computer. It's like, I can deal with that. It's like, if they stole my hard drives for the movie, I'm going to be really upset.
Yeah.
And of course they did. It was gone. But not only that, it was like all the backups and all that kind of stuff. Because it's like I had protected myself for hard drive failure and all that kind of stuff, but I hadn't, I didn't think someone was going to break into my house
Just
and
not
steal my
burglary.
Yeah, and now I do. It's like holy shit. It's like now it's part of my process. And luckily for that film, we shot on XD Cam, which gives you a physical disc that you have as a hard copy, kind of like tape.
Right.
So we had that. And they were in the house, but they were off on a shelf, and they never looked at it or never realized they had any value to them. Which, I mean, they don't really outside of just like their core value. Mm-hmm. And unless you know what to do with them, you gotta you gotta find them to sell someone to. So it's not really worth stealing those. Anyway, so luckily we still had those, and I had like an old project file of the movie backed up on like a little jump drive. But the one thing I did have, and would probably be the inferior version that they're asking about, was I had uploaded the entire film in reels to our composer to start work on over Christmas. So I had a reference to what the final film that we had locked looked like. So I was able to just import that into the edit suite and then put it on like another video layer and put it at like 50% opacity and just match cut everything. The most boring, horrible kind of editing that's possible. And so, we were able to recut the film. We had the original source tape, so I redigitized everything, and so it was an inferior version. It was still all the same original footage, but I had to use an inferior version to redo it. I mean, but now it's like for Sex After Kids, we shot on Red, which is all digital. It's all hard drive. So for me, it was like, all right, we're backing up. Not only in duplicates, but it's going to be in 3 different locations. Yeah. Because if
I'll put one in an offshore bank account.
Yeah, there's just literally...
Who are you, Mitt Romney?
Mitt.
Etch-a-sketch. I'm just saying.
There's raccoons on my deck, according to my wife.
It's awesome. I was like, what just happened there? I bet they're really cute.
No, our son is deathly afraid of them.
Wow. I can't. I mean, I've only met him once, but I have a hard time believing that he's scared
of anything.
Yeah.
He's a dragon.
He's scared of the concept of them because he knows that they're diseased and they go through our garbage. So I think he's just and just the idea of he's a kid.
They're masked bandits.
They're emotional. They are masked bandits.
They got the.
No, all I can think of it is that cartoon growing up, the raccoons. Was that what it was called, the raccoons?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I don't think it was called the raccoons.
CBC.
Yeah.
Was it called the raccoons?
The raccoons.
I stand corrected.
Bam! Said the lady.
You just thought it would have been more complicated.
It's a little more rough. All right, and one last fun question, apparently. Siobhan's random question. And it really is random. Your favorite type of fish to eat?
Oh, probably salmon.
Like
or butter.
Salmon.
Unlike sushi, I like butterfish. It's nice.
I like fish steak.
It's got a really nice little flavor. I'm a pescatarian, so I don't eat meat, but I still eat fish. So,
I didn't know that.
I don't think there's any fish I really don't like. I like a lot of different fish because I don't eat, that's like the only, technically meat that I would eat. So I eat quite a bit of fish. Because that's the thing is I go to a restaurant, my options are a veggie burger, pasta, or the fish. So it's like I've come quite accustomed to eating many different fish meals at restaurants.
Fish and chips, baby.
Fish and chips are always usually good.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, salmon's probably the most common because...
I like salmon.
Yeah, salmon's good.
My
I'm a
mom
tuna
used to
girl.
make this... I
than
need to
salmon.
get her to send me the recipe. She used to make it's like a meatloaf, but it's a salmon loaf. And and it's just covered in cheese across the top.
I like cheese.
Fish and cheese is an interesting combination.
But it's really good.
Yeah. I had an amazing lobster lasagna
Ooh.
with like an Alfredo sauce. It was the richest thing
See,
ever.
I love Alfredo
It was very, very tasty.
Wait, okay, see. And now
So
I'm
what
going
did
to
you
jump.
What did you get flashed on the Etch-a-Sketch?
Well, we got flashed to talk about Danger Girl photography for a couple of moments because she did some wicked pic. I think I've said it before that, because both Sue and I published
Tim's going to
books.
talk about how he's a handsome man.
I'm a handsome guy. I've seen the picture. I'm a handsome man. But our friend Beth Beard has her own little business called Danger Go Photography, and right now she's like the only photographer I will let take my picture because
no one else will go near him.
Well, there's that, and she makes me look
Sandalac.
good, which is really tough. And Sandalac, I think I'd pose for Sandalac if she asked me to. I don't know why you haven't. But anyway, but Danger Go Photography did a wicked job on us. We had our photo shoot that came out with we shot for 4 hours?
Yeah, it was way later than I was prepared to be
costume
up,
changes. There were props. We had this whole backdrop of
By props, he means like nerdy toys.
Yeah,
that
not
we
like
brought.
sex toys or anything.
I went to crop immediately. I was like, what are we bringing for props?
Nice.
But yeah, we had this.
Well, those
backdrop
already
of
be here,
posters.
They'll already be in this when this is edited together
Yeah.
and put up, right?
I hope so.
So you'll be seeing them probably not right now because this is
Because you're
video.
talking, because the camera.
It's video.
Yeah. But yeah, so she's got a website which is dangergophotography.com. Have a look. She does weddings. She does portraits. She does it all. And believe me, if she can make me look as good as she does, and let's face it, I'm a good-looking guy. Then yeah, check her out. And
She got me to do my Teen Beat magazine.
yeah,
pose.
check those pictures out. But Beth, thank you very much. Awesome work. So yeah,
As always.
as always, yeah. It was cool, man. I mean, some of those pictures look freaking sweet.
I've never had.
Because that was we both sat for her individually before.
Yeah.
But
Just
that was
for
the first
fun?
time.
Yeah.
Well, I think the first time she asked me was just because she wanted more experience doing portraits. So she was like, "Yeah, just sit in my apartment and play
and
with stuff."
we wandered around Yonge Street and
Yeah.
Queen Street, and we kind of wandered in the alleys behind Queen Street, and we just stopped in front of tagged art and stuff, and just posed, and wow, she's got a great eye.
Nice.
Just saying. Yeah. But who wants to talk about Breaking Bad? I still haven't started watching that. So.
We don't have. I was just kidding about. We can
Let's
talk
talk about
about.
something Haven. Once
I
upon a
don't know
time.
Haven.
Have you seen Once
I don't
Upon a
know, I
Time?
don't
I was
know it.
really
Don't
surprised
know.
with that. I'm just saying, it's good television.
Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf.
I
Oh
haven't
my
watched Teen
God,
Wolf.
that's a good show.
I've been bad. I literally.
There's not much TV after kids either.
No, TV is the one thing you watch after kids because you can you get these little intervals.
Yes,
Movies
true.
are really hard after kids. I mean, especially.
Movies are hard
I
with cats. I find it too. Maybe it's just because I'm sleepy now.
yeah. No, TV shows are what you do watch because you have these intervals, a half-hour intervals
Yeah.
of time.
Just not usually when stuff's actually on. Do you find you're recording a lot?
Oh
of that?
God, no! We never watch anything.
Yeah.
No, it's at our own discretion. It's
Without commercials, you can knock it down to 45 minutes.
That's right.
no, it's literally only been
Be
TV
done.
shows. I have to force myself to try to watch a movie now. It's just well, only because I've been working nonstop on
of
on
course,
such after
yeah.
kids. So
Wow.
it's the first time I
You've
got.
been watching that movie over and over.
Well, but even just to get out to the theaters, it was I think I saw maybe 2 movies all summer. It was
One with us.
I
That's
saw
right.
3. Yeah, sorry, Avengers, Dark Knight, and
Yeah.
Looper are the ones.
I want to see Looper because I really like Brick.
Looper's great if you don't think about it afterwards.
Oh.
I don't want to talk trash about it. Have you seen it?
Ryan's giggling.
That was fantastic
Review?
analogy for that movie.
Have you seen it?
Just don't think about it.
No, here's the thing, because it's really, really entertaining,
Right.
and it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I love him to
He's a
death. He can
fantastic
do no
actor,
harm
yeah.
in my eyes. It's just one of those things. It's a time travel movie, right?
Yeah.
So you're up against the benchmarks of the great time travel movies.
Back to the Future.
Which is pretty much Back to the Future. Not to say there aren't other great ones, but that's the one.
Star Trek 4.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing. Because the thing is, the project that if all goes well, I hope goes next. There's a time travel aspect to it, right? It's different. Don't get too excited. There's no DeLorean.
I don't need DeLoreans. I just want to know: is it multiverse? Is it linear time?
Oh
Is it...
fuck me! Can we swear in these?
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah!
No. Okay. So no, I'm not. I don't.
God damn it, George, swear.
So the fucking problem with Looper,
Yeah.
is that they establish no rules.
Okay.
And so there's no rules to be broken. And there's actually literally a point in the film where they start talking about how it works. But, and Bruce Willis just says, "This shit makes my head hurt," and they just brushing it under the rug. It's
It's gonna be that kind of a
It's just a
movie.
bit. I mean, I hate using this word, but it felt a tinge lazy.
Oh.
It felt a tinge let's not. They came up with a really cool idea, but they didn't want to have to apply any logic to it.
Right.
Oh.
And that was my problem with Looper. It was just little things like you know the essential premise of the movie.
Yeah.
Right. It's like a guy. Spoiler. I'm not. This isn't a spoiler.
No,
It's a guy has.
basic plot.
Does he go back and kill himself or whatever?
Yeah, it's like you're a looper. You choose. You sign up for this job, which means that you're going to assassinate people that are coming from the future. But you also, by signing up, you agree that at one point in time they'll have to close your loop, which means they're going to send you back and you'll shoot yourself. And when it happens, you get a big payday that will, in theory, sustain you for a few years as you're getting yourself back on your feet and integrating in society. And at which point they decide that you know too much and that you should be taken care of. My two problems with that are that why wait like 20 or 30 years to decide you know too much? Like, when you know too much right away.
It's a time travel movie.
Yeah, it's like you've got a lot of time to tell people what you were doing. It's like that's a long time to
And you got paid.
yeah, to let people walk around with this knowledge of what you've done. So there's that. And also, it's just like, why send someone back 30 years within a generation and they're probably still alive where they can affect what's going on in the present? Send them back to the fucking dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Send them,
Problem takes care of itself.
So that's just so me going in the movie. I'm like, well, I hope they explain why it has to be a limited amount of time, and they don't talk about it at all. Yeah, it's just so to me, it was just like establish some rules and some boundaries that get me invested, and I'm good to go. I'm a rule nerd for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I want to know what the rules of the universe are.
Totally.
And I just felt like they didn't.
And even Quantum Leap did that just by saying it had to be in his own lifetime.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's
the most part.
just it. So establish rules, and I'm on board. And you can break those rules as long as there's a smart way to break them, and that's
Yes.
part of it.
Yeah.
That's fine, but you've got to have a groundwork to work from, or else I just feel like you're just playing around and you're not really taking it as seriously as you could.
Yeah.
So that was my problem with Looper. Entertaining as hell. It's worth checking out. So I don't want to dissuade anyone, but it's just like if you're a big like sci-fi nerd, and I'm not a
Yeah.
huge sci-fi nerd,
Yeah, I am.
but if you're it's just, I mean, it's the writer in me going,
Wait a second.
yeah, it was just like it felt a bit brushed under the rug some spots.
That's too bad. Because I love a good time travel movie.
Me too. But I was thinking I mean, I haven't even seen it yet, but just from the commercials and stuff, I was like, I don't know.
12 Monkeys.
Like, to me, it was like they had to, I love 12 Monkeys. Crazy Brad Pitt. But to me, I was going in, when I go in, it'll be with, well, not now necessarily, but I don't know, I had like this expectation that you have to prove to me that this movie is worth what you're setting it up to be, I guess.
It's fun.
Because I had expectations in my head.
Just
Do it.
just go in and have fun.
I'll see that and Frankenweenie. You just watch me go. Got a little dog.
No, Paranorman
His tail
again.
falls off.
Paranorman again.
I loved Paranorman.
Paranorman was so good. So good.
And I saw Brave over the summer with my son.
I like Brave.
I still haven't
It was
seen it.
Ephraim, my son Ephraim's first movie in the theater was Brave.
That's right, and he told that girl.
He
not
talked
be
trash
scared.
to like some other 3-year-old girl. There's these giant. For those who haven't seen Brave,
There you
there's
go.
these
Bear.
giant scary bears, and they're I would
He's a
imagine
bear,
quite
yeah.
frightening to a child, and especially one who's never been into a movie theater where the screens are huge.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't even know what the movie was about besides the Scottish girl. I didn't.
Yeah,
know
that's
that.
all I knew going in.
Yeah, so I didn't know that there was this bear mythology and that kind of stuff. So going in, it starts up, and I'm just kind of checking him out, and he's cool with it, and he's fine. And he's also, I mean, this is about halfway through the summer, so he's been like living with me, making the movie, and working on it, and hanging out with actor friends of mine, and so he gets the idea of an actor, and that kind of thing, and he's starting to, and he's a bit of a little performer himself. God bless him. And so he was watching the movie. And this little girl behind us was kind of hyperventilating a little bit. She was freaking out. And he just turned to me at one point. He says, I don't know what her problem is. It's just an actor bear. And I'm like, that's amazing. Amazing, but also sad as hell that
He's not getting caught up in
suspension
it.
of disbelief.
Yeah.
It's just like, have I ruined
No way.
movies for
No.
you entirely?
No.
I think I have.
I don't think so. I think he'll still get the enjoyment out of it, but he'll also get the fact that that's.
Well, it was great in the sense that I'm like, now I feel the challenge to scare the shit out of him. I want to give him something that scares him.
Poltergeist will do it.
I just cut right to the hard stuff.
It's a PG movie.
Texas Chainsaw.
That's a little extreme. That one still gives me the shivers.
I haven't even seen it
Poltergeist
because
would
I'm
do it.
terrified
It's
of
pretty
very
creepy.
nauseous.
It's creepy.
Notion.
And Poltergeist, I think, would do it because it's got that creepy clown doll.
I don't know if I've ever seen Poltergeist.
See,
There's a
Ryan's
clown doll?
Yeah.
You got like a wall of creepy like horror dolls, and you're
No clowns.
Because there's this
Not a
whole
single clown up there. Smart
because there's that
man.
What
whole
about-
sequence with the doll.
I'm gonna
that's
buy
just
you
on
a
the
Tim
chair.
Curry It doll.
Yeah.
If they make them, I assume someone makes it.
Someone's
They
gotta
must.
have
There's
one.
got to be
Yeah.
one somewhere.
Pennywise the clown.
Nice, thank you. I was trying to come up with a name.
Yeah.
That was literally, and so talking about watching movies as a kid. That was a movie I remember watching at a sleepover with a bunch of other 8-year-olds or however old we were when that came out, and I wouldn't take a shower for like a month at least. Just because that scene where he just comes right out, right?
Yeah.
Not even thinking that it's like, well, how much of a fucking difference is that of him? He's having a bath. It's still coming out the same direction, but for some reason, it's like the plug is there. This little hunk of plastic is going to save me from an evil, maniacal, 800-year-old clown
Yes.
spider hybrid.
The same way your blankets will save you from anything that's in your room,
under your.
under your
Fair
bed.
enough.
in
But for
your
some reason, that
closet.
was okay. That little plug was my magic. I'm like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Good. What's it going to do?
No problem.
And none of that bothers me or freaks me out at all.
Clowns?
No?
No, none of it. The only thing, and this is just going to sound weird, the only thing that really creeps me out, and it's because I really don't understand what's actually going on behind it, if there's anything going on behind it, is the whole alien abduction thing. That freaks me out. That is the only
Well,
thing
no one
that
really
freaks me
wants
out.
to be probed.
No.
But it's like a daily fear? You're
No,
constantly worried about it?
Constantly, no.
You walk
But-
No wonder he gets to work every day.
But it's one of the only things that I can freak myself out with. Like, I went through this whole phase where I was reading books and blah, blah, blah. And I remember
You saw the night of
When I was-
no, what was it? Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky, yeah. I remember I was living in Halifax at the time. And I was laying on my bed. And I just finished reading my book. And I was on my side with the door behind me. And I wake up in the middle of the night. And it's just one of those things where, you can't. You can't really move and roll over because you're in that kind of tired, still asleep state, and I'm like, if you roll over right now, there's gonna be someone standing in the doorway, and it's just gonna get really fucked up really quick. And I had to literally just lay there and wait until I felt that whatever it was had left, despite the fact that I'm positive there was nothing actually there. How you feel that there's something there, it just freaked me right out.
See, and it doesn't even have to be aliens for me. If I roll over and anyone is
Well,
standing
okay.
there that's not supposed to be,
That's-
I'm gonna be
It's the
terrified.
only thing that really bothers me. And I used to have this big thing about shower curtains. Like, even in my apartment, my shower curtain has to be open all the time. And it's not
Splash
not even-
water everywhere? Were you an animal?
Well, no. I
There's
mean,
a
like,
reason for shower curtains.
no, I mean, like, if the shower's not in use, it has to be open. That's all.
Oh, the shower's not
Oh,
new.
yeah, it's not in use.
yeah,
The
me
shower
too.
curtain has to be open.
Yeah.
Which-
unless
But my closet
unless
door has
company's
to be
coming over and you
closed,
haven't
because
cleaned
that
it.
way I
Well, there's
can hear
that.
it when it
Although
opens.
I've got a transparent shower curtain, so it really wouldn't make a difference, I guess. The
Yeah,
outlet,
I
so
was-
I'm still safe, even if it is closed. It's transparent, but I don't know where that came from because I know it's not from Psycho. So I don't know where that came. I don't know if
Shower
that's,
curtain thing?
Yeah, because it.
Well, that wouldn't work in Psycho anyway because the killer came from outside the
Yeah.
curtain.
It's true, but I just don't know where it came from.
Although, I mean, there's countless horror movies where someone was hiding behind the
Yeah.
But yeah, as a kid,
Behind
though, I didn't
anything.
do horror movies though. As a kid, I couldn't.
I didn't either. I
Yeah.
was. Well, I mean, our parents just didn't. We weren't introduced to them either. I mean, I remember watching Lethal Weapon and like the woman jumping from the thing.
She was naked, by the way.
My parents thought was a bit too much for me.
Really, I had. To
I remember Gremlins fucking my sister up a lot. It was the microwaving thing. Like the thing with
Yeah.
like the clown didn't mess me up. I had no problem with clowns outside of the fact that the majority of them are drunk and it's just that like growing up seeing what clowns
Drunk
looked like at
pedophiles
fairs.
all
Yeah, like that was
balloons.
creepy about clowns. I mean, I wasn't scared about them murdering me.
No.
I just didn't want to be near them because they smell like booze. Not to downplay all clowns. I'm sure there are
I'm sure
some
there's one or
wonderfully
two nice
wholesome
ones.
clowns in the world. That's just not my experience. There's an amazing book that I tried to get the rights to, but actually Kristen Wiig got to me them first.
Weak.
Good thing I don't
You,
think
you
she's a
talented,
cutie. Yeah.
beautiful woman. Called Clown Girl. by Monica Drake, and I highly recommend it. It's an amazing book. And Kristen Wiig's gonna adapt it into a movie at some point, or she better do something with it. God damn it! I was gonna,
If you're gonna get the rights
She's
to
awesome.
it.
yeah,
I like Kristen a lot.
she's great. She Clown Girl, because it's about like this town that's kind of where clowns are kind of not the outlaws. It's weird to explain. It's just I don't want to. I mean, I'm wreck it if I just talk about it. Clown Girl, check it out. It's an amazing book.
There you go. What are you reading? Nothing. Did you finish 11/22/63?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you,
So did I.
okay. All right.
We've all read it.
I want to know more what Sue's scared of.
Yeah,
Since we're talking about that. And Halloween's coming up, right?
It sure is. I'm scared of pretty much everything, really.
It's gonna be a long conversation.
Ryan's just like, oh god.
I'm scared now.
Just clowns.
I think as far as movies that get me is usually any home invasion type thing.
Oh,
Like I'm constantly certain that a psychotic killer is hiding under my bed,
well, it's
even
anything
now.
that's real. Anything that's real. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
See,
funny.
I know.
This is a huge like side thing, but it was like I was talking about this with John Nichols, who was my editor for Sex After Kids. We were talking about like even just like the comparison of like new Die Hard versus original Die Hard.
Yeah.
And the idea that's like when John McClane goes up a ramp and takes down a helicopter or flies through whatever the hell he did in the last
before,
one, not
yeah.
the new one that's coming out. It's just like I can't identify with that. As much as I can identify with the simplicity of John
first
McClane
one, yeah.
walking across glass
Yeah.
with bare feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. I've had a little prick. This like that's what.
Stepped on a Lego.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that really is like, oh, like you sit
Yeah.
there and you twinge. So like the home invasion thing, it's
Yeah.
like who hasn't been at home by themselves at night when it's a bit dark and you hear that creak and you're like,
Yeah, especially now, because now, since I was in Colorado, now I've got my own apartment, so I am by myself. Like, thank goodness for cats, because they'll alert me if anybody is hiding.
is that why you have cats? Is that the only reason?
Yeah.
I hate cats, but they make me feel less.
Because my other cat, Kate, was like afraid of everything and everyone, so except for me. So if she didn't come to the door sometime, I knew there was a problem. But that never happened.
But what
so.
will the cat do?
Hiss.
Yeah, I would just know walking in that there was something waiting for
Because
me.
the cat's acting weird.
Yeah.
Because she don't.
That's really all they're good for, because I can't even put up like a
What if
beware of cats.
What
sign.
if they? So are the cats always there when you come in the door?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was gonna say, what if they just killed the cats? as soon
Like
as they
I
came
see
in?
that too.
And there's no
I
cat
can't even
there.
think of what movie, but like where they killed like the family dog or whatever, so we
Well,
won't
that's
bark
just smart
anymore.
planning.
I know, but it's
I
still,
don't
like,
condone
upsets
killing
me.
the family dog, but if you're gonna do it properly. You cut the phone lines. You get rid of the things that can make them get away. I'm not, like I said, I'm not condoning it.
No.
But it's
You don't
like,
want to warn them.
yeah, go. If you're gonna go
Kill
to
the family dog.
yeah, if you're gonna go through the steps of killing someone, it's like get it right.
And I actually heard this story that's a true story about a girl who got home and there was a killer hiding in her closet. And the cat was like sitting staring at the closet door and she didn't really pay attention to it or know why. And then the guy came out and killed her and the cat had to watch all of that. So they found like her
Well,
dead
who told the
body.
story?
How do they know
cat?
the cat watched it? How do they?
Yeah.
Well, they don't know the cat watched it, but the cat was there.
But you're
still in the
convinced because the
apartment.
way you told the story.
That's
That
right.
This cat
Like,
sat
the
there
cat
and watched it the whole
survived
time.
and told the
cat was
story
probably licking
afterwards.
its nuts the whole time. It didn't care. It just wanted
No,
to
but
make
the
sure
cat was
food
like
was
left
there.
in the apartment with the.
But then
with
you
the
get
dead
these
body.
heartwarming
My cats would
stories
be upset.
of the guy that lived.
But then
in,
they would eat me.
The guy that lived in someone else's closet for like 8 years or whatever it was. In
A
Japan.
heartwarming story.
He didn't kill her. He was just eating her Fruit Loops when she was gone, watching some TV. He didn't do anything to her. He wasn't raping her at night and that kind of stuff. He just needed a place to crash.
What movie did I just see
And
like
she
that?
apparently had enough space that she never noticed he was there. It was, if he was in there that long and undetected, it's like clearly she had enough room for him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's a better version of being murdered in front of your cat.
I guess. Wow.
I don't want anybody living in there.
No, I don't want to find someone living in my closet either. But that's the other thing. It's just like
My closet is full of crap just to prevent that.
the horror movies that freak me out the most are the ones where it's like there's no rhyme or reason to the evil. It's just evil.
They're just evil for evil's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and-
like
and-
any insane asylum, anything.
Yeah, like The Strangers.
Abandoned or not.
I hated that movie.
It's like Funny Games. I hate Funny Games.
Oh, that was terrible.
It's just because
I didn't.
The original was okay,
I hated,
but the
both
remake
of-
was terrible.
Well, I just hate it because it's just. Well, I mean, I didn't watch the original because I saw the remake and I didn't want to watch the original because the remake made me so angry, and it made me not ever want to watch one of his movies again because I just felt like it was such a big fuck you. It was because it was set up to be not quite torture porn, but it was set up to be that kind of like moralist thing. But then it was almost like 3/4 of the movie he started judging you for watching it.
Yeah.
Oh,
As
good.
if you know what I mean? So it was like, why are you enjoying this? It was like throwing judgment at you. And I remember reading articles talking where he was almost respected the people that walked out of the movie more than he did the people that stayed. And it's like, well, what the dick are you? and so it just upset me.
At least your movie's playing. Shut up.
Well, there's that. So, but it's just like, I mean, I'm all for taking your audience on a ride and twisting and turning, but it's like, that just felt like you were just trying to fuck with me.
Yeah.
In the meanest possible way, where
Yeah.
you're trying to make me feel bad about watching your movie.
Yeah.
And that's the case, then I'm never going to watch another one of your movies. Because you just made
You
me...
win.
Yeah, you won. Congratulations. You know?
The other stuff I love is like not all ghost stories, but I love like kind of old creepy haunted house kind of
Lady in
stories. Lady in White. I loved The Innkeepers was good and creepy.
Innkeepers was really good.
I loved The Orphanage. It was probably one of my favorites of all time, actually, the more I think about
That
it.
one's coming up
and
on
that's
the
another
list.
one that's like, as soon as I got to the end of it, I wanted to go back to the beginning and watch it all again, because I was fucking terrified. I wanted them to stop the projector and turn on the lights in the movie theater just for a minute to give me a break.
I don't know The Orphanage. Is it like the others?
Sort of. It's a Spanish version, though, that takes place in... this girl goes back to the orphanage she grew up in. And I forget why. I think she buys it, doesn't she? It's
think
like
so.
no longer an orphanage, and she just buys it as a home.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I mean, creepy ghost kids are sort of the scariest
Kids are
kinds
creepy,
of
Ghost
ghosts.
kids are always... It's almost... it's like a tripe, too, right? It's a bit easy. The creepy ghost kid.
Want to play? No.
Yeah, dude, no.
Go to your room.
Yeah, what's that?
Go to your room.
Go to my room. I don't
The
care.
creepy ghost kid.
It worked
And
for
then-
the doctor. Doctor Who did it. Said, go to your room. And it totally worked. So I'm like, I'm going to do that from now on. Creepy ghost kid?
Because that happens quite often to use the creepy ghost
The
kid.
orphanage
All
girl
the
had to
time.
play that game where they had to come up and tap on her shoulder
Yeah,
after.
creepy.
I wouldn't
I
play
need to
that
watch
with
that
adult
again.
ghosts either.
And The Innkeepers. I need to watch that again,
Yeah.
too. Good movie if you haven't seen it. Just saying.
I get creeped out by the ghost stuff.
And Women in Black.
I believe women. I've seen the play Women in Black.
Yes,
which is
me too.
Creepy as shit. I haven't seen the movie, the Daniel Radcliffe.
It was good.
Yeah.
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 Well, the
I was really
play
surprised.
is
The play was
terrifying.
amazing, yeah.
The play is terrifying. Which probably the only time I've ever been terrified in the
Live theater?
Live
I
theater.
know, I
So
agree.
well done. I mean, and a lot of that
And it's so simple. It's a lot of sound and
Yeah, it's mostly
and
sound.
lighting, basically.
It's sound and lighting. It's just creepy. Like the whole time you're sitting there going, just. I want you to be done. I want you to be done. Please
I wanna
be
go
done
home now, yeah.
Yes, I don't want to be here anymore like this. It's great. It's like, if you can, instill that reaction inside of someone, like sitting in the theater, that's that's
and they
the-
pay you
That is
for
pretty
it.
great.
Yeah, that's the best. Oh, same as like I can't do haunted houses. Like I can't. I was in North Carolina.
I'm not really okay with people touching me from the dark.
Well, that's just it. It's like I was on like spring break. We were in North Carolina and this huge haunted house thing. And it wasn't even during Halloween. It was spring break. What the fuck was that? So anyway, they and this guy like literally reached out and touched me, and I punched him in the face because I was at the back of the line, and it was a gut reaction. You got me scared. That's the point of this room. Don't touch me. So but the best part was because he was in this giant, like he had like the chainsaw and like the big like freaky. And I cracked him, and then he turned into like instant surfer dude. He was like, "Dude, what the fuck? That's not cool." So instantly the fear is gone. But it was I can't. I've never been able to do haunted houses just because it's just like maybe it's like because you're in a confined space, you can't control
Yeah.
anything. With like a horror movie, it's like I can look away.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah, exactly. I can take myself
Yeah,
out
well, I
of
can
it if need
rationalize
be.
it by thinking, okay, this is a 90-minute movie. There's 10 minutes of credits. Blah blah blah. All I have to really do is get through the next 80 minutes, and let's see if the climax is in the last 10 minutes.
But then
all I
you
really
do
gotta
it to yourself anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like Because it's the adrenaline rush.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, but honestly, it's not any of the home invasion ones. Because honestly, they bore me, and I'm like, it doesn't.
You're breaking my house any day.
No, it just doesn't. It doesn't freak me out. It's the supernatural ones that just really get under my skin. Like The Exorcist, still one of my favorite horror movies, and I will watch it all the time. But it still gets under my skin because I just sit there and go, just man.
Because I remember.
The Shining.
I love The Shining. Although you giggle your way through that movie because
Oh,
of
it's Jack.
Yeah. Whereas for me, it's just the whole, especially when the shit hits the fan in The Shining, where the whole hotel just kind of comes to life, and Wendy's walking through.
We're talking about the Steven Weber version, right?
No, fuck that shit.
Right?
I watched that one recently. No, thank you.
Whatever. It was terrifying.
Just the special effects.
It had the topiary animals.
Yeah. Just
Kubrick didn't have the animals.
Kubrick had a wicked film. I'm just saying.
Blair Witch, I thought was.
Blair Witch, yeah. You know what? I remember being freaked out more by the documentary about the Blair Witch than the movie itself.
The movie, I found it it went along fine, and I don't do a lot of camping, so I wasn't like some of my friends who were very caught up in like all the sounds and stuff. So I was there for the ride, and I was having a great ride, but as soon as he gets like downstairs and like the last guy with the camera or whatever.
Oh, that's the worst part.
Standing in the corner.
And you're just like, that movie fucked me.
Yeah, and then he gets like clocked and he falls.
Yeah.
And the movie's over. I was like, oh my god, that was horrifying.
That's terrible.
I can still see
And
that
awesome.
shot in my head.
Yeah, that
we all had to go drink after.
that image easily stayed with me for days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which is so
And now, like, I see someone standing in a corner, or like even in the Bessarion station with the pictures, and people have all got their back to the camera. I'm like,
that subway station.
who the hell put up these things? Have you seen that? There'll
No.
be like 3 people, and it's just their backs.
Yeah, and then there's this creepy looking baby, and that's
Except for
looking at
one
you,
like blurry Asian baby.
It's really creepy.
Looking over its mother's
Creepiest subway
shoulder.
station in town, right there. Yeah.
I haven't seen this. Yeah,
Horrifying.
and the girl I took to see Blair Witch, I had told her she had been convinced that it was real. Like she didn't know that it was a fake movie.
Yeah.
I kind of pushed her into like the viral marketing they were doing.
Yeah.
Which was
It was
amazing.
brilliant.
Yeah.
But even like when I finally watched Paranormal Activity, like same thing. It's just like that. I don't know why, but it got to me too, right? And for me,
The first one did.
The only thing that I can do when
Parts of the first one did for me.
is the only thing I can do is just think about the technique.
Yeah, that's what I started doing too. You kind of just
And think about how they did this
Yeah.
and how they kind of like study the technique, and then I can kind of get
Yeah.
not freaked out by it and start thinking about like story structure. I'm like, oh, well, this is gonna happen next, so I can prepare myself.
Yeah.
I did.
And whatnot.
Yeah.
It's my nerdy way of not peeing myself.
But that's not to say that the movie's not scary then. It just means that you talk yourself out of it. Which is like cheating.
It's not cheating. It's applying a rational thought. I'm okay with that.
No, it's not even a rational thought. It's more like I'm just gonna manipulate my own emotions to stay out of being manipulated by someone else.
I'm smarter than you, movie maker.
You can't get me.
But then you do, and then you kind of like. I mean, people like to be scared. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why the horror genre.
We like to be
is as
scared in
popular
a
as
safe
it is.
environment. That's why it's
Yeah.
better. Like I guess it was last year at TIFF. I went to, because I go to a lot of Midnight Madness when I can, and I went to see, the first one I saw was You're Next, and it was a home invasion one, and it was hilarious. I laughed all the way through it. I was like applauding when like this crazy awesome death scene that I'd never seen before happened, and I was like, this is like one of the most fun movies I've ever seen, but I still went home alone that night at 3 a.m, and I had to check under my own damn bed
Yeah.
at like 39 years of age.
But I mean, the thing is, like, the best horror films make you confront your own fears,
Yeah.
and that's
Yes.
why they work really, really well.
Yeah,
and then that's why
exactly.
certain genres go for shock. Like the torture porn is like a shock genre, and that's
Yeah.
why that one does well. But it's like, for you, the alien thing.
Well,
That's why
even
it's
just-
supernatural.
yeah,
Because you
supernatural,
walk down the
yeah.
street worried that you're going to be abducted every day.
Not anymore.
Is it the anal probing?
No, it's not.
Has to be.
It doesn't even. It used to affect me.
It used to be the anal
lot.
probing.
Now it's all right. No,
Now you're fine.
no. It just now it doesn't even bother me as much as it did because I was into like the whole X-Files thing at the time, and I was reading books, and so I could cite cases.
It was that thing they put towards
You
your
knew what
eye.
you would do. You were like, I know how to handle this
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Because
Whereas now
it's
it's
going to be
just
those same kind of aliens that abduct you. That
It's
came
either
from
that
the mind of Chris Carter.
Yeah, either that or the James Cameron ones, either or. But yeah, it's more the supernatural stuff right now.
Here's
but
the
I
thing
like
about
it.
aliens.
Uh-oh.
I mean, we'd be ridiculous to believe that there's nothing else out there.
Good for you.
Right? There's that.
Yeah.
I think we'd also be equally ridiculous to believe that we're interesting enough to bother visiting.
I like that too.
Let alone probing.
Like, look at it. Like, honestly, it's like anything that can travel here from another planet is so far advanced from us. It's like we're like ants to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they're not going to waste their time with us.
That's true.
You know, so there's an interesting...
Which is kind of what the point behind Under the Dome was,
Yeah.
basically.
Stephen King
Ants
does it,
under
yeah.
a magnifying glass.
Yeah, we're just nothing to
Yeah.
them. And the same as like there was an interesting a friend of mine did a time travel documentary, and one of the people he interviewed talked about the idea that it's like, you know, we believe that time travel doesn't exist because no one's come
Because no
back.
one's come back yet. Yeah.
He says, but we also believe that we're interesting enough to visit.
Yeah.
You know, so we have that. So it's our ego that makes us think that we would know better, but it's also realizing it's like we're, you know, why would we come back here? It's like, what the hell is going on right now that's so goddamn interesting? You know, so there's also that, and I think that's true. That
Have
it's
they
like,
destroyed the planet yet? No, not quite.
but that's why we you know the supremely logical thinkers of our society don't believe in either or, because they believe that it's the ego of it. Is
Yeah.
that they believe that we're worth visiting,
Yeah.
but either by ourselves or by an extracurricular. And then, you know, there's the old saying, extracurricular? Is that what I said?
That's awesome.
Extraterrestrial.
I actually just went there in my head.
Yeah.
It
But
works in a way.
but there's also the, you know, the saying that is like, all magic is science we haven't figured out yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Arthur C. Clarke.
who said that?
Arthur C. Clarke. That
Good.
any advanced technology would seem like magic.
Yeah.
Well, the sun seems like magic too, depending on
Wow.
what civilization you're part of.
I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up.
What?
Yeah. I'm just saying. Now that so you're crazy.
Now that we've come back around to the sun.
Yeah.
I'm crazy because I said
That's
that
true. The sun
sun
is
is
magic.
There's entire civilizations that worship the sun.
The sun is
They thought,
magic.
oh, and it's a god.
The
sun
sun,
is
you can see it.
magic.
I would argue that the sun's is a more, you know, realistic
It's a celestial
deity
being.
than some. Celestial being? Wow. Is that how that
A
works?
celestial body, I should say.
Body?
I can think of a couple of those. Anyway.
Hooah.
Booyah. All right, yeah, that's probably a nice spot to wrap it up, I think, Sue.
Why are you looking at me like I'm crazy?
Yeah, but we love you anyway. It's true. We don't love her? We don't love
Scientists thought the Earth was flat.
you. Scientists did not. People thought the earth was flat. Not scientists.
Well, scientists are people.
Some of them. Some of them are too smart to be people. I think they're robots.
That's how ignorance is bliss. Every generation believes that they're the smartest generation.
That's true.
There
Yeah.
is. And I mean,
They also believe they're the one that's going to be the end of the world. The apocalyptic generation. That was hard to say.
it's the same. It's ego. It's like everyone, you know. It's just, but all it is that every generation accumulates more knowledge than the last one. So in theory, we learn from our mistakes, but we don't really.
No, we really don't.
No.
We can hopefully learn from our big mistakes.
Wow, what a downer.
Like, yeah,
What a
where
way to
we
end
go.
I haven't learned from shit.
How about you? No, but that's Jeremy, man. You got to come back more often. We need to go drinking
3
more
times
often.
a
Is what it
trying.
is.
That's true. This is the
Yeah.
first time
Well,
we've
that'll
done
be
this
the
without
next one.
alcohol.
We'll have
Yeah.
alcohol here and then...
Yeah,
We need to get a mini bar in here.
There's a
No rules
fridge.
against it.
That's right. So that next see
You need to get a sponsor that will provide you a mini bar.
Heineken. Hello, Heineken.
Steam whistle? What else have we got?
Mill
What have we got in
Street. Get Mill
town?
Street in here.
Sure.
Yes.
Any of you watching those? Just email Ryan.
Send this man a mini bar and fill it up. Not
Constantly.
that we have to have alcohol to have a good time.
No. See,
It helps.
clearly.
It just helps a lot.
Thank God we didn't this time. We'd just all be crying by
Watching
now.
this show right now. Will you sponsor us with recreational?
That's awesome. But yeah, Jeremy, it's always fun to have
Thanks,
you.
and happy pre-birthday.
Yes, it's a pre-birthday. Well, there's a big
Right.
birthday tomorrow too, as well, though. So, not my birthday. It's Hudson's birthday tomorrow. Happy
Polar bear
birthday,
cub.
Hudson.
Polar bear cub.
1 year old.
Yeah, and then it's my birthday.
His siblings didn't even make it through one day.
Mine Reels had its birthday last
So
week.
did Hudson like just take all the resources?
No, their mother rejected
Yeah, it
them,
was- yeah,
so
it was
he
sad.
actually was the only one that
Sad
got
story.
rescued.
Oh.
But now,
Again, a down note.
See?
now he's
What
a
is it
big-
with you?
I say happy birthday. You talk about
I
dead
said
polar
the sun
bears.
was magic, and you guys are like, you're crazy. I don't think it's magic, but there was a time when people like
Thought
didn't
the sun was
understand what it
magic.
was. Yeah.
I believe it. Like south
Oh.
of, any place south of the border right now believes it. I'm just saying.
I don't know if that's
South
true.
of which border?
The Yanks. I'm just saying. That's not true. There are some wonderful Americans.
You have American listeners. What
I
are
know.
you doing
And I just
right
said,
now?
We have great American fans.
Hi.
We have one of them that's the best.
Well, now you have to give a proper shout out. You can't just say one of them.
She knows.
I don't.
She knows she can call me Susie.
I
Cusey.
don't.
She's the one that can call you
Yeah,
Susie.
she can get away with it. It's true.
Okay. Well, she'll tell me after. and I'll
She's the
speak
only one that
about
calls me Susie Cusey. Nobody else does that.
I'll start.
it. Yeah. Now everyone's going to.
That's
It
right.
won't be as cute.
Doesn't matter.
Great.
Doesn't matter.
Now it'll be a flood of it.
That's right.
She's the only one that calls me. I don't know. I gotta come up with something better.
Uh-oh.
I was gonna come up with like something like sexiest woman on earth or whatever.
It's too late now.
I
No,
know.
it's too late.
Moments passed.
Failed.
Maybe next episode.
Okay, this podcast has more endings than Lord of the Rings now. So
Take that, Peter Jackson.
Thank God we don't have credits yet.
they would just cut us
We
off.
should just roll that too.
But yes, Jeremy, always fun. You have to come back when, of course, Sex After Kids comes out. Maybe bring some friends. I'm just saying.
No, we should do a whole series of.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're not gonna fit everybody in here.
No, we'll bring people in groups maybe if we can
And Sue.
arrange that.
Always a pleasure.
Tim?
Not true?
I don't know now.
Yeah, that look. I'm sending your birthday present back.
No, you're really gonna like it. It's ridiculous.
And once again, if you get the chance, Danger Girl Photography. Check it out. She'll do your
.com.
pictures. It's amazing. But yeah, Sue, thank you.
Tim, thank you.
Thank me. Jeremy, thanks for coming out.
My pleasure.
Say hello to Emily and the kids for us.
I will. She's enjoying clean sheets right now.
Wow. Fair enough. And that's
Wonder
it,
what
I
my
guess.
cats are doing.
They text you?
They don't have a phone.
But they could if they did.
Piper probably
You
could.
should get them a phone.
I
And a Twitter
know.
account.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's, yeah.
All right,
Fair enough. All right. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
In today's world, people are busy and impatient. We are on information overload. Every minute counts. People want to know what you can do for them. They won't spend time reading or searching, but they will watch a video. If it clearly explains who you are and what you do and tells them what they want to hear, they will reach out to you. You have seconds to get people's attention. You want a video that is engaging and makes the viewer feel as though it is speaking directly to their needs. Add to your sales team a short video and let it do the heavy selling for you. Or add to your social media or wherever your audience is spending their time. Videos can pay back your investment 10 times over. So now that you've heard our message, let's talk about yours. Let's bring your image to life.